Hey and good evening. I hope you're all doing really, really well. Welcome back to Sunday Live. And we've got Ian's Guitar Shack in, who has just finished sanding a graphic nut. Excellent. Feeling a lot better and more fret. No fret string rattle. That is great. Marcy, hey, how you doing? Great to see you. Happy Sunday too. BC Rich 581. Billy Gibbons has always had an understated sense of fashion. Very much low key. Well, yes, I agree. We are tributing the big man himself tonight, Billy F. Gibbons. Now, the reason I wanted to do him was not because of his incredible playing, although he is an incredible player, but because of his amazing sense of songwriting. Hey, Tall Thing Kev, good evening. Ben, hey Ben, good to see you. Don't forget to check out Ben's live show tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. Hey Dennis, good to see you as well from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Oh yes, and happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. I've got something to show you guys. Hey, Ylle. Bless you, brother. So, last night we went to see Queen and Adam Lambert, and it was absolutely amazing. I brought this cup home just to show you guys. Yo, CGS. BC Rich 581 meant to say FE, SG. William Da Silva, great to see you. Happy Father's Day, and to you, my brother. Hey, Gary, good to see you as well. Hello with the beer. Well, I have some water tonight, but not a beer. Alex, good morning, sir. Well, it's evening here, but I'm sure it's morning wherever you are. LM Guitar Corner, great to see you. It's a last raid. Love it. Blackjack Guitar, good to see you and happy Father's Day. MCL, great to see you, brother. Where's the L? Music therapy. Oh, that's new. Grumpy Mike. Oh, I'm missing a few. Good to see you. Howdy. Anton, great to see you. Tony, good to see you as well. Smitery, hey, good to see you, brother. Marky Effects, greetings. Janice, hey. Vax Effects, Sean Hockey, all my favourites are in. And the Lamb. It's great to see you all, guys. Deja Voodoo. That's right. Love it. Stephen is also a last raid. Wow. Hobo Roadie. Hey, brother. Yeah, Marcy says, Happy Father's Day to all you dads out there. Aaron. Hey, my brother. Great to see you. Happy Father to everyone. Han Solo, good to see you. Alex 22, 2112. installing 7 gauge strings. Wow, for Billy, yeah, he has exceptionally light strings, and we will talk about that tonight. Terry's 3Gs, oh bro, Croc 66, I am feeling well. Quentin, hey, wow. John Pearson, hello. Made it on time. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Jack Collins, hey brother, great to see you. Right, we have so many videos to get through tonight. I am going to start with the biography of Billy F. Gibbons. So let's dive in.
Along with the late Stevie Ray Vaughan, ZZ Top guitarist Billy Gibbons is unquestionably one of the finest blues rock guitarists to ever emerge from Texas. Born on either March 4 or December 16, 1950, both dates have been given in the past, and raised in Houston, Texas, Gibbons grew up in a home that favored both classical and country sounds, but upon discovering Elvis Presley via an appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show, Gibbons became transfixed by rock and roll. It wasn't long before he discovered other early rock and rollers, Little Richard as well as bluesman Jimmy Reed via a local radio station. Soon after receiving a Gibson Melody Maker electric guitar and a Fender Champ amp for Christmas in 1963, Gibbons began emulating his heroes, forming his first band when he was 14, the Saints. The guitarist later joined a group around the mid-60s called the Coachmen, who specialized in more psychedelic bass sounds, inspired by the likes of Jefferson Airplane, Jimi Hendrix, and the local Texas outfit 13th Floor Elevators, led by a young Roky Erickson. Gibbons' band eventually changed their name to the Moving Sidewalks, issuing a lone album in 1968, Flash, although an early single, 99th Floor, would later receive attention when included years later on the Pebbles, Volume 2 compilation. While the Moving Sidewalks never made a splash outside of Texas, Gibbons must have been pleased when Jimi Hendrix, with whom the Sidewalks toured with around this time, began endorsing the guitarist as one of his favorite new players to the media. Rio Grande Mud. When the Moving Sidewalks folded in 1969, Gibbons sought to form a more straight-ahead, boogie, blues rock-based band, and after hooking up with a pair of other fellow Texans, bassist Dusty Hill and drummer Frank Beard, ZZ Top were born. The power trio slowly but steadily built up a solid following, largely due to Gibbons' tasty guitar playing and muscular riffs, especially evidenced on such renowned tracks as La Grange and Tush. Over the course of 5 classic albums over a 6-year span, 1970's self-titled debut, 1972's Rio Grande Mud, 1973's Tres Hombres, 1975's Fandango, and 1976's Tejas, ZZ Top became one of the country's top rock bands before taking a 3-year break. When they returned, the musical climate had changed considerably, and ZZ Top opted to change with the times, as a more modern, electronic sound was merged with their blues rock roots on such albums as 1979's Degüello and 1981's El Loco. But with the release of 1983's Eliminator, the new approach came together for the group, while both Gibbons and Hill happened to come across a gimmick that will be forever associated with the group: long and stringy beards that grew down to their chests. It didn't hurt that the group was responsible for some of MTV's most popular video clips of all time, which always seemed to primarily focus on good-looking girls and a snazzy 1933 Ford 3-door coupe, rather than the band members, Give Me All Your Loving, Sharp-Dressed Man, and Legs. Gibbons and Hill also became known for their assortment of matching and outlandish guitars, which were also always on display in their videos. La Futura. But the trio's newly acquired commercial direction caused some consternation among longtime fans, and by the mid-90s, new ZZ Top albums failed to sell as well as their earlier titles had, although a large and loyal following still flocked to their shows. Following 2003's Mescalero, ZZ Top parted ways with RCA, and it took them nearly a decade to deliver a new album. The Rick Rubin-produced La Futura appeared on American in 2012. Gibbons quickly followed that album with his first ever solo project, the Cuban-inflected Perfectamundo, where he was supported by a group called the BFGs. Perfectamundo appeared in November 2015. A longtime vintage guitar collector, Gibbons owns some of the world's most cherished and rare guitars, including a particular instrument that he's become synonymous with, a 1959 Sunburst Les Paul Standard, which he dubbed Pearly Gates. In addition to music, Gibbons supposedly owns several automotive-related patents in his name, is an avid painter, and collects rare African art and artifacts, amassing so many that he was forced to store them in a warehouse in Houston. Besides recording with ZZ Top, Gibbons has been known to go by the alias Eustace Walker, appearing on recordings by Jeff Healey, Feel This in the Rainer and Das Combo, the Texas tapes. But it's obviously Gibbons' exceptional playing with ZZ Top that he's best known for, as the guitarist has influenced a wide variety of players over the years, including the Meat Puppets' Kurt Kirkwood and Pantera's Dimebag Darrell, to name just two.
So there we go. The biography of Billy F. Gibbons. I see a lot of you coming in. Great to see you guys. How would you like to hear my ZZ Top tribute? Would you like that? I think you might. I'm going to play it for you right now. Bear with me. This was a while back, and I called it Shush, which really was just this sort of lovely stuff I really like from ZZ Top. So there we go. Thank you all for your lovely comments. Really kind of you. Yeah, Harley Benton sounds great. And the reason I played it was because Bill also plays an SG from time to time. Lovely comments. Thank you so much. Thank you, Janice. Thank you very much, Marcy. Thank you, Trevor. Awesome. Oh, Grumpy Mike. Straight in there. Look, bless you, brother. for the wellness tone jar, and why not? Loving this. I'm a lifelong ZZ Top fan, especially the old stuff. Let me give you one of these, my friend. Never courted, but always appreciated. Grumpy, it's really kind of you. And I saw you on the Tone Kings video on, I think it was Saturday morning. Yeah. Okay, blackjack guitar. I wasn't using pedals. I believe that was my attempt at getting a free tone that sounded like Billy Gibbons from, what's the software called? Oh, man. Not the Axe Effects. You know what it is. Come on, somebody help me out. It's my brain. I'll check it out while I play you the next video. Okay, thank you so much. See you later, Rack. Enjoy your dinner. Okay. Yeah, you need some cheap sunglasses. Amplitude. That's it. That was it. I really try hard to find you guys some really good tones just using Amplitude Free, the CS version. So, yeah, I will be doing that. Big Gibbons tones in the fingers. I saw a reputable YouTuber store selling very expensive. Wow, we have a little chat about pearly gates later. Oh, sassy cat, thank you so much, my friend. Really appreciate it. Let me give you one of these. Really, very, very much appreciated. And that is so kind for all you do and continue to do. Bless you, my friend. Well, I am trying to carry on as normal, my buddy. Speech is getting rather hard these days, but I'm fighting through it. And thank you so much for your kind donation. Really appreciate it. 99% of my tones come from Amplitude. Yeah, I bet. Oh, thank you. That's so kind of you. Really. Hey, Bill. Hey, Mike. My name's Bill. I've been a bit, and funny enough, when I play, my family says shush. Oh, man. Oh, music therapy, lads. Bless you, brother. I have to give you one of these, my friend. So kind, my brother. I can't wait to see you in August at Hennings. It'll be really great. We'll chill out and have a good hang together. And thank you so much for that. It never fails to impress and inspire. You rock. Happy Father's Day. Well, bless you, my friend. I actually had quite a few tears this morning. My 3 kids made me up this amazing booklet with loads of pictures, and some really, really lovely words in. So there we go. Thank you so much. Right, we have so many videos to get through tonight. I'm going to have to play the next one. Right, so what we have, I think we will go for Billy Gibbons. I was fearless when I started playing. This is quite interesting.
Billy Gibbons, I was fearless when I started playing, but learning that agonizing F chord was miserable. With new solo album hardware in record stores, the ZZ Top icon sits down with TG to share some hard-earned wisdom. Growing up in Houston, Texas in the 50s and into the 60s, the young Billy Gibbons fell in love with the music of arch bluesmen such as Jimmy Reed, B.B. King, Freddie King and Lightnin' Hopkins. He woodshedded hard with his 1962 Gibson Melody Maker, cut his teeth with psych rockers The Moving Sidewalks, and in '69 joined up with now deceased bassist Dusty Hill and drummer Frank Beard to form ZZ Top. This trio's stock in trade was smarter than it sounds, boogie rock and Hendrix-approved guitar smarts, all delivered with a tantalizing sense of mystique. They spent the 70s touring heavily, making quietly great albums such as Trace Hombres and Tejas, and writing tunes like all-time classic La Grange. But that little old band from Texas shrewdly knew how to move with the times, and broke into the mainstream big style when MTV leapt on their 1983 album Eliminator. Newfangled synths and sequencers hot-rodded their down-home blues rock on hits like Gimme All Your Lovin', Sharp-Dressed Man and Legs. Gibbons and Hill had their signature beards in place, Frank Beard ironically didn't, and they were away. Back in June 2020, drummer Matt Sorum, Guns N' Roses, Velvet Revolver. The Cult suggested to Gibbons that they forget the world, head out to the desert and make some loud noise. With a small team including Nashville producer Mike Fiorentino, they decamped to Escape Studio, set some 20 miles deep in the California desert near Joshua Tree, and wrote and recorded hardware. Gibbons' third solo album is a modern retro set packed with his trademark Texas tones and tunes drawing on slide-laden blues rock, 60s surf music and the kind of gravel-throated cinematics only the Reverend can provide. TG caught up with this most cosmic of guitar heroes to get a taste of the album, to look back on 50 years of the Top, and to pick up some six-string tips, advice and philosophical guidance on the way. Strap in. Make the most of the gear around you. This go-round, one of my favorite tracks is West Coast Junkie. The sound has got a lot of my guitar buddies saying, "Oh my god, don't tell me you're going back to surf days?" And I say, well, yeah. I found a Fender reverb in the corner of the studio, and despite the engineer waving me away we plugged it up and it worked. Parked next to a 1955 Gretsch Duo Jet was an early 60s Fender Jazzmaster, and I thought, wait a minute, a Jazzmaster and a Fender reverb? We're on. It was 1962 all over again. Within a couple of weeks, we sent for our personal gear and some of our own favorites showed up. Pearly Gates, Gibbons' trademark Les Paul, has managed to be front and center on just about every recording project of mine. Say hola. To a better sound, use a peso for a pick. That was one great thing in the desert. The Mexican peso was always in the pocket, and that was one countable element that wasn't going to let us down. I got some pals who prefer using a very pliable plectrum, but I've gotten used to the fierceness of the peso. There's zero flexibility, you can really dig in with the attack knowing it's not going to let you down. You're on it, you're right there. On the subtleties of slide. I like glass and ceramic slides, but in a pinch, and the moms may not be too happy about this, you can go into the kitchen and saw off the leg of a kitchen stool, and you've got a nice metal slide. For hardware, I actually started revisiting the mysteries of the lap steel. On the song Stackin' Bones, we have two young ladies by the name of Larkin Poe, and I became intrigued by the way Megan Lovell was getting around on the Rickenbacker lap steel, the sound she got off it, so I started fooling around. I've got an old Rickenbacker frying pan lap steel from the 1930s, the Electro A22. To get the best out of it we went to a solid steel guitar bar, and again that's another element of sound that's quite different. I have two of these frying pans, one an extended scale length, the other shorter, and I came to realize the shorter neck produced a darker tone. It's much like Fender and Gibson, the Fender is a 1/4 inch longer in scale length, and that makes Fenders a bit brighter. Matt and Mike liked the fat sound of the shorter one, the little one's bigger. Practice, practice, practice. With vinyl, if you can. With the lure of leaving school, some people might find themselves in a world of swirl not knowing what to do. But I was pointed, I was going straight back to the house, going into my bedroom, picking up the 6th string, firing up the record player and learning what was already in the grooves. I was fearless on that end, but learning to play that agonizing F chord was miserable. In fact, I would encourage anybody just starting out to be sure to take time to, as the old adage goes, practice, 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 and then practice some more. And now, with the unexpected return of the popularity of vinyl, be sure you got a record player handy. Lifting the needle off, you're taking your hands off the strings momentarily to find that sweet spot on the record that you're trying to learn. It's all worth it. Your next step forward, that field of greater charm, is just a record away. There were different periods in ZZ Top's career where we found that the field of greater charm seemed to be just over the horizon. But these are only as far away as the next record that you can learn to play along with, and for me that included attempting to learn all the chops by Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, Mick Taylor, Peter Green, Mick Abrahams, Jimmy Page, the list goes on and on. Whatever suits your fancy, make sure you stay close by. I suppose you could download it, but just as long as you're near it. Play live a lot, and try to surprise yourself. We toured for 7 years running uninterrupted, from the time we started in late '69 all the way until '76. A lot of folks might have taken that as an excursion into abject boredom, but it was quite the opposite. The set was 2 hours, and there was a slot between the first and second hour for 2 songs. Each night the unexpected song title call went from Dusty to Frank and back to me. We never knew what was going to be thrown on the deck. So it kept it lively. Here we are playing things we didn't know how to play, but all of a sudden you're in it, so the chops were getting honed night by night. But don't work harder than you have to. For years I was playing flat wound strings that were quite heavy. I thought that was where that big blues sound emanated from. Then once I was sharing a dressing room with B.B. King and he said, "Hey Billy, can I play your guitar?" He gave it a few strums, handed it back and said, "Man, why are you working so hard? You need to lighten the load, you need some light gauge strings, and that's what turned the corner, man." Quote, "Move with the times, but don't be afraid to give it some, Texas mud." It seems like we've always got one foot in the blues, but back in the early '80s, I became a fan and follower of Depeche Mode, who came blasting into the scene as a synth-pop band. They turned it upside down with Personal Jesus, I Feel You. I went to see them early on. I was looking at their stage, no drummer, no guitar player, no bass player, just 3 keyboards and a microphone, and that was it. But the sheer bombastic effect blew my mind, and that fateful encounter drew a friendship. This bearded guy from Texas with a bunch of synth-pop guys from the UK? Who'd have thought it'd result in friendship? Years later, Martin, Gore, and Dave Gahan called and said, "Man, we've got a track here and we need some Texas mud." That song was Soothe My Soul. Be adaptable when it comes to musical technology. You become quite familiar with the recording studio, as antiseptic as it may seem, and that used to be years of familiarity. But things are unfolding at such a rapid pace today. Now at the end of the next week you've got something new you've got to wrap your head around. At the time of Eliminator, the musical instrument manufacturers had reached a point where they were attempting to make discoveries or to be inventive. How do we make something that is musically viable and appealing, but different enough to stimulate the market? All of a sudden these very strange things started appearing. We had the good fortune to be recording at Ardent Studios in Memphis, and the owner was not shy about reaching in deep pockets and investing in the next crazy piece of equipment. We discarded the manual immediately and started twisting knobs until we found something that we liked. Some of these new elements, synths, sequencers, just reinforce the rhythm section. It doesn't really require jumping through hoops for new guitar technique. Frank Beard, the man with no beard, and Dusty and I. The purity of ZZ Top is that it's just 3 guys and 3 chords. Mystique is a thing of the past in the social media age, and that's okay. Mystique is like a blank piece of paper. In fact, it could be a black piece of paper. It has flipped upside down and become much the opposite. Who wants to wait around anymore for the big hero to dash from the black limousine to the stage door? You get nothing. The intrigue of personal interaction has reached a new depth now. We're living in a time where it is possible to reach in and enjoy the depth of the exchange between strangers. Don't get me wrong, it can be time-consuming and there's only so many hours in the day, but the whole planet has become one. Billy brandishes his iPhone. The new body part, right here, haha.
Yeah, so there you go. Quite an interesting little story there. And I'm with you, Phil. I really fancy one of those Bo Diddley jobs he plays. They are really cool. So, the thing I love about ZZ Top and Billy Gibbons is the simplicity of what they write. It is, as they said there, often just 3 chords, and you can make 3 chords sound amazing. Just gonna check out what else I've got for you and move a couple of the things I've played in. Right, you can decide the next one. Billy Gibbons names his favourite guitar solos. Billy played with so many amazing artists. Billy says that Dusty Hill's estate sale was not good for the band. Billy Gibbons tells the story behind Pearly Gates. We can look at Give Me All Your Loving or ZZ Top new album Raw. So let me know what you would like to see next, and I will go with the first one. Let me see. Oh, there and Dan, great to see you, brother. Okay, Keith there first. Let's go with the solos. Okay, guys, let's have a check out on Billy's favourite guitar solos.
ZZ Top's Billy Gibbons names his favorite guitar solos. Billy Gibbons has recorded a selection of impressive guitar tracks, many of them propulsive in their realization and vision. As it happens, his is a guitar of great defiance and attack, every guitar solo polished with a sense of situation and sensitivity for the work in question. But even he has his favorite guitar solos, and like any honest parent, is happy to say what they are when the time is right to do so. In an interview with Speakeasy in 2018, Gibbons decided to give 3 guitar solos that he considered to be his personal favorite. Ultimately, he opted to go with La Grange, Tush, and Just Got Paid, much to the delight of the audience seated in front of him. Although he didn't elaborate on why they meant so much to him on the night, he has given some hints over the years that suggest why he enjoys the pieces above the other solos in his canon. In a revealing interview with USA Today, he explained the process that led to the barreling piece, such as it ended up becoming. Well, one could call it true inspiration, he claimed. So making the journey to the famed Chicken Ranch was something of a genuine rite of passage for successive generations of young Texans. In the same conversation, he claimed that the work, in truth, it's a blues-infused take on talking in tongues. You think you understand what's being said. But, then again, do you really? The guitarist next turned to Tush, and based on this interview from Guitar Player magazine, it's clearly one that meant a lot to him. I made up this introductory riff. So I recall the lighting director, he pulled the headphones off and he put his finger in the air. He was grinning and pointing. He said, "Don't lose it." I looked over at Dusty and I said, "Man, we've got about 4-5 minutes before we collapse from this heat." So we ran through a 12 bars blues using that headline figure, he continued. Then Dusty leaned over, and he said, "What are we going to call this thing?" So I remember, the 3 of us were all big fans of Roy Head. In fact, we used to play Treat Her Right as part of the ZZ Top repertoire. The flip side of Roy Head's Treat Her Right single was an instrumental called Tush Hog. Was a Texas slang term that meant, that's just about as good as it's gonna get. It didn't get better than a tush hog. This brings us to track number 3. In an interview done with Rolling Stone, Gibbons said the song came from a connection to Fleetwood Mac, not the Stevie Nicks lineup, but something bluesier. This was inspired by Peter Green's opening figure in Fleetwood Mac's Oh Well, he recalled. I was living in Los Angeles, sitting on the steps of this apartment. It was raining and I couldn't go anywhere. So I was trying to learn this figure. It got all tangled up and it stayed tangled. So, there we have it, his favorite 3 solos, and explained in a way that is progressive, thoughtful and deeply reverent of the work in question. It sounds like he responds well to intelligent questions, just as he is carefully considered in his approach to playing the guitar. Gibbons and ZZ Top are still performing, although they encountered an unfortunate tragedy in 2021 when bassist Dusty Hill died. One of 3 core members, the band's future spiraled into uncertainty following news of the bassist's demise. But the band stated they were going to soldier on, in accordance with his wishes. Who knows how they will get on, but it's not the first time a band has soldiered on without a core band member. Echo and the Bunnymen survived the death of drummer Pete DeFreitas to write a collection of strikingly well-produced numbers, and Adam Lambert has brought Queen to highs that Freddie Mercury could never have hit in his lifetime. It's easy to write the band off as a group of also-rans, lacking an essential member of their battalion, but in their own way, ZZ Top have the steel and stomach to bring these 3 solos back to life. Billy Gibbons' favorite guitar solos are LaGrange, Tush, Just Got Paid.
So there we are. They're his 3 favourite solos. Keith H, thank you so much, my friend. Let me give you a big thank you. So kind, always appreciated but never courted. Really appreciate it, mate. And I'm glad you're enjoying the content. By the way, all the content is available over on CGS Live if you want to catch up after the show and just see the videos. Seeing the SG with the V headstock looks quite nice. I agree, I'm not creative. I had a case of tush hog when I was 9. Love it. Hey, Adam D, great to see you, mate. Adam Lambert is a pale shadow of Freddie, just saying, not all. Well, my friend, we went to see them yesterday, and he was amazing, absolutely amazing. No one can replace Freddie. Freddie was absolutely unique and was a great frontman. But Adam is a great singer, really is. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, really, really enjoyed it. Phil James, great Fleetwood Mac lineup. Peter Green, Danny Cohen, Jeremy Spencer, John McVie, and Mick Fleetwood. I think that was the best lineup. Everybody listens to ZZ Top's first album song, Brown Sugar, says it all. Thank you, Grumpy Mike. Do smash that like if you are enjoying this. Not a whole lot of Hendrix endorsements in the scripture. Gotta appreciate that. He does talk about Hendrix. Mike, you've become a hero of mine. You're one strong bloke. I'm trying to be strong and keep going, my friend, because it really matters to keep moving forward. And I love doing these live shows, and I hope you can excuse my voice, but I love doing them, and it really helps me because I continue to talk. Kurt Hammett, yes, he does own the Greenie Moore. Anytime I play, I have to play some ZZ Top. Good man, Jack. Excellent. Let me see. Oh, sorry, that was to somebody else. You matter to me as well, my friend. That's why I keep on doing these things. Oh, thank you, Ben. Really appreciate that, brother. Yeah, it is a crying shame, but I'm going to beat it, guys. I am. I am going to beat it. Great channel, content, and lives. Thank you so much. I excuse absolutely anything. Spend more time with you, CGS. You're an inspiration. That is so kind. I had so many beautiful comments from you all on my video telling you what I've been doing. And, bless you. That's so kind. Thank you all so much. I thought you just blew out your voice practicing your Gilbert Gottfried impression. Love it. Bless you, Krenner. Love you, man. Can't wait to see you at Hennings. Yeah, I will. I will kick its ass. If ever anyone can, I will. Bless you. So kind. Right, you wanted to see the pearly gates next, so that's what we will tee up. Let's move that one. And where is pearly gates? Here it is. Okay.
Billy Gibbons tells the story behind his 1959 Les Paul, Pearly Gates. I've spent plenty of money putting together a collection of guitars attempting to find something to replicate Pearly, and it just hasn't happened yet, Gibbons says. You gotta have the right guns when you enter the town of Tone, says raconteur, bon vivant, and ZZ Top guitar slinger Billy F. Gibbons. Translation: if you're heading into a recording studio or onto a stage, it helps to have some really hot guitars with you. And there are few hotter guns in all guitardom than Gibbons' 1959 Les Paul, known to guitar aficionados worldwide as Mistress Pearly Gates. Gibbons acquired the instrument in 1968, just as ZZ Top were getting underway. Pearly Gates has played a starring role on every one of the band's records, from ZZ Top's first album in 1971 to the present. Threads of fortunate karma, both cultural and personal, crisscross the tale of how Billy acquired Pearly. It was the seminal 1966 album, Blues Breakers with Eric Clapton, that set him on a quest to own a sunburst Les Paul like the one Clapton is seen holding on the disc's rear sleeve photo. A dear friend of mine, Billy recalls, a fellow musician, Mr. John Wilson, was playing in a band called the Magic Ring out of Houston. He told me, there's a rancher outside of town who played in a country band but has turned his attention toward wrangling cattle. Rumor has it that the guitar still resides under one of the beds in his ranch house. So Gibbons drove solo about an hour out of Houston and found the elusive rancher. The guy was big, Billy recalls. He was like a John Wayne guy. I had $250 in my pocket. And when he pulled out that .59 burst, the deal went down. Billy had freshly obtained the cash as the return on a favor. He'd loaned an aspiring actress a 1939 Packard automobile that he collectively owned with some friends so that she could drive from Houston to Hollywood for a screen test. We didn't think the car would make it past El Paso, Billy says. But it brought her all the way to Hollywood, and she got the part. We figured the car must have divine connections, so we named it Pearly Gates. Meanwhile, she called and said, should I send the car back or sell it? We said, sell it. She did, and my portion of the settlement arrived the very day I drove out to see the rancher. And so the name Pearly Gates, with all its attendant magic, was transferred to the guitar, which was in mint condition when Billy obtained it. It still had the original set of flat wound strings from the Gibson factory on it, Billy marvels. Plus an extra set of black diamond flat wounds in the case. I still got him. Also in the case was a love note, which we also still have, from a girlfriend of the original owner. She said, I like what you do. Meet me later. You might like what I can do. Over the years, the instrument has acquired a patina of scratches, scrapes, and dings, including ample belt buckle wear on the rear of the body. I call that thrash rash, Billy says. But one of the first signs of wear and tear on Pearly was on the pickguard. Following in the footsteps of Clapton, Segovia, and others, Gibbons grew out the fingernails of his right hand. What I hadn't counted on was that the fingernail of the little finger started digging into the pickguard, leaving scratches, he says. Still, Billy has kept Pearly 100% stock. Even the frets are original. What might such an instrument be worth today? There was a Japanese gent who offered $5 million US, Ylle says. Which is an attractive offer, but then again, I've spent plenty of money putting together a collection of guitars attempting to find something to replicate Pearly, and it just hasn't happened yet. That's what led to this closet full of hardwood that I have.
So there you go. It was originally named after a car. I didn't know that before I did the research, and it's really interesting. I would agree with BC Rich 581. I think if I was going to have a 59, it would be Greeny Moore or the Beast, Bernie Marsden's Beast, although I love Pearly Gates as well. He paid just over $2,000 in today's money. Yeah, I bet it's worth $2 million now. So the estimate on Pearly Gates is $3 million. Wow. That is an absolute pleasure, Gary. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I learned a lot of things by digging around and getting into this. And I love Billy Gibbons playing, so really, really cool. Dennis never gets in ZZ Top, and Lil Skinner in the Tulsa Speedway, 77. Wow. This is before Skinner's. Oh, yeah. A lot of them died in that, didn't they? Oh, yeah. Amazing. I bet you love that, my friend. Great story with documentation would be priceless. What a score. Yeah, there's a lot of us that have this, but we're not going to worry about it. Does anyone know what happened to the aspiring actress that Billy loaned the car to? I don't. I think she got the part, though. Excellent. Let me move that one into there. I have still, in fact, I don't think we're going to get to the demo guitar today because I've still got 4 stories left for you. So I'm going to play next all of the wonderful artists that Billy Gibbons has played with. This is quite incredible.
Billy Gibbons, My Stories of Jimi Hendrix, Keith Richards, Al Jourgensen and more. ZZ Top's Billy Gibbons has tales of everyone from Cream to Nickelback. And he's happy to share them. During a career of 40 years and counting, ZZ Top have toured with some of the rock and roll's finest, and were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2004 by Keith Richards, ZZ Top themselves having performed the honor for Cream in 1993. Here, the gentlemanly Billy F. Gibbons lifted the veil on a few of the famous friends he's made while traveling the rock and roll highway. Jimi Hendrix. We toured with him in 1968. It was a real mind-bender and eye-opener to say the least. As most now know, Jimi Hendrix, either consciously or subconsciously, made a decision to invent things to do with a Fender Stratocaster that it had not necessarily been intended for. He did it very well, too. I was 18 at the time, and somehow the organizers saw fit to book us in the hotel room across the hall to his room. That was convenient to allow me to ask him the obvious question, how do you do that? I remember that this was a long time before hotels had stereos in their rooms, and each day there would be the delivery of a rather heavy and cumbersome hi-fi console player that was the size of a small Buick. It was dutifully installed for Hendrix to be able to listen to his favorite discs. The one I really remember him playing the ass off was the first Jeff Beck group album, Truth. Hendrix was mad about it, totally odd about Jeff's playing. Oddly enough, Hendrix was all too willing and ready to include blues licks in his arsenal of guitar offerings, which had fallen out of favor in the States with most black entertainers. I got to play on stage with him at the time, which is quite well documented, but it was what went on behind the scenes that really captured the magic of the moment. B.B. King. We've been friends since 1972. Our first encounter was way before then, back in Houston, Texas. But our first professional engagement was in 1972. I was backstage in my dressing room when he took an interest in my guitar and wanted to see what it felt like. I was only too happy to say yes. At the time, I was playing some pretty heavy gauge strings, and BB said to me, "These are mighty heavy. Why are you working so hard?" He handed his Gibson guitar, Lucille, over to me and said, "Give this one a go." I discovered the strings were extremely light, which kind of made perfect sense. The Rolling Stones. The Stones had accepted an offer to make an appearance in Hawaii in 1972. It was 3 shows, a Friday night, a Saturday afternoon matinee and a Saturday evening. When the announcement was made, it seemed that every band on the planet was vying to land the opening slot. Even today the Rolling Stones are it, as far as most bands are concerned. Somehow we got the call to take those 3 dates in Hawaii. I remember walking out on stage in our standard attire of cowboy boots and a cowboy hat, which was something of a mystery to people back then, and someone in the front row shouted out, "Oh my God, they're a country band." Obviously that wasn't particularly fashionable at the time. So we realized we had to get stuck in straight from the get-go to shake off this misleading image. But we got along famously with the Stones and managed to hang out with them for a few extra days. We were just hanging out on the beach and sipping cool libations. Keith was totally living the rock and roll lifestyle at the time. But what a lot of people don't know or realize is Keith's unending devotion and calling to being what is true as a musician. That was very apparent then, although I have to say he was certainly a lot more colorful when it came to the extracurricular stuff. Cream. Make no mistake, ZZ Top didn't just happen upon becoming a trio because it was easier, it's a lot more challenging. But Hendrix and Cream were at the top of the chart as far as ZZ Top's book was concerned, and it was through those early influential days of attempting to emulate those sounds and styles that brought us together. It was a real honor to be associated with Cream and bring them into the spotlight at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I met Clapton in Houston, Texas. Cream had been booked to appear on an early US tour, and a local promoter who booked that tour also owned a venue where Gibbons' pre-ZZ band, the Moving Sidewalks, used to rehearse. Clapton was curious to see what the local music scene was like, and he dropped in to have a look at the venue. We were on a break, met him, and we got along quite well. Back then, talking about music was the order of the day, and we just got a lucky break meeting him. Nickelback. Ha 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 Rockstar was quite an unexpected success. We were touring the US, up the Northwest. It was the day before our own show, they were playing and we were curious, so we popped down to catch the band's performance. You have to note the great vocal stylings that Chad Kroeger can bring to the party. Man, he can sing for days. Anyway, after that inauspicious first meeting, when the time came for them to get back into the studio, I believe Chad had the idea to complete Rockstar as a studio-based song. He had most of it but felt he needed something extra, so he called me up to see if we could make some sense of it. He dreamed up the vocal inflection that I sang, and I reckon it came out okay. Al Jourgensen. I was a big fan of Ministry from their early days. Again, Houston, Texas springs to mind. They blew through town playing a weekend warrior venue, at a place called Numbers. This was a wild venue, with the stage in the middle of the room and the audience on all 4 sides. It was such an insane place, and its reputation drew in the fiercest of the fierce, which meant the owners had to put up chicken wire around all 4 sides of the stage. Jorgensen made the most of it, climbing around like a caged beast. I knew right then that this was a guy for me. We stuck around and became friends from that moment. Much later he was recording at Sonic Ranch Recording Studios, a superb outfit that houses 3 studios. It's one of the biggest in the world and even has its own pecan orchard. Al was wrapping up this Revolting Cocks album and he offered me to pop along and lay down some slide guitar work. That was a perfect time for some rocking and rolling. Jack White. Jack's another very interesting character. And quite a talent, I may add. He has my vote of confidence in as much as his personal preferences are never allowed to be ignored. And he is quite vocal about how he wants to do things. He's either quite strident about whether he knows exactly what he wants, or even if he knows nothing it doesn't stop any forward motion. He works all the time, too, he's got something going on all the time. And I like his approach to that end. He says it's a stimulus rather than being exhausting. Some folks would buckle in the face of such a work schedule but he's honest about it and he gets off on it. Hank Williams III. He's another talent. He's frighteningly the ghost of his grandfather, Hank Williams. Good grief. He sounds like his granddad, and he's a living example to back up the idea of genetics skipping a generation. His old man, Hank Williams Jr., is really quite different from his dad. But come around to the generation after and it returns right to his granddad. He's a great entertainer himself as well. He's torn between keeping on the tradition and his real passion, which is grindcore to the end. That's his true love. I was lucky enough to work with the New Orleans drummer Joe Fazio, who holds down a spot with Hank and also played with Superjoint Ritual. And he was telling me that they'd go out as a double bill, and Hank III would give his audience fair warning that the first half of the show would be to the delight of those who liked country music. Then he'd say, "We're gonna take a small break now, and those who can't take it better leave the building, 'cause we're going to get real heavy." Muddy Waters. We had Muddy on tour with us back in 1983, right before he passed on. It must have been the Eliminator tour, and we had him along and got to know him and his band. It was quite illuminating. I actually first met him back in 1976. Dusty Hill's brother, Rocky, was a shining light in chasing down these blues masters and bringing a significant amount of attention to them, and he introduced us back then. We were interpreters, they were the inventors. But Muddy, well, he was just something else, man. People ask what I listen to, and there's a certain sprinkling of contemporary sounds like Jack White and the Black Keys, but I have to say it's a slim list from the modern side. But going way, way back, we're still listening to stuff that came out between, say, 1949 to 1957, people like Muddy Waters. It's the stuff that I keep on going back to. It's very enduring.
What an absolute legend! The amount of people that he has played with is just incredible. Hello, Worldwide Ghost. Great to see you. I think we may just have to go over a little bit tonight, if that's okay with you guys, because, let me see, I still have 3 more ZZ Top things to get through. Let's dive in to Give Me All Your Lovin'.
ZZ Top's Billy Gibbons, Gimme All Your Lovin' is all about tone. Get the grind and you got it going on. The blues firebrand and engineer Terry Manning tell the guitar story of an 80s blues rock classic. Back in 2011, Billy F. Gibbons assured Total Guitar that Gimme All Your Lovin' is all about tone. Get the grind and you got it going on. That's the starting point, then learn to play what you want to hear, crank it up and rock on. That tone and grind were key hallmarks of Eliminator, ZZ Top's monster hit album in 1983. By then, that little old band from Texas's were 14 years and 7 albums into their career. Behind the blue-collar trio ticked some shrewd minds, none more so than manager, producer Bill Ham. So when MTV landed in '81, the band, that's Gibbons, drummer Frank Beard and late bassist Dusty Hill were ready, creating a cartoonish image that rested on beards, babes and braggadociousness. Hill and Gibbons grew facial hair down to their belts, while their videos saw them drive a 1933 red Ford Eliminator coupe and flanked by leggy models. Fun, distinctive and MTV-friendly, ZZ Top quickly became part of the fabric of the channel's early era. Dubbed synthesizer with soul, their sound was new too. The blues boogies retro-fitted with cutting-edge production and equipment. Eliminator's opening track and lead single defined their 80s renaissance. Gimme All Your Lovin' came together in 2 parts, recalled Gibbons. The basic track appeared initially, inspired by the guitar riff, which clicked with the rhythm section right off. The words came later, drawing inspiration from Mick Jagger and Keith's stylistic works. After remaining in exile for a week in room 501 at the Peabody Hotel, the pieces were intact. The takeout from Molly's Mexican Cantina kept us going to see it through. It was recorded at Ardent Studios, Memphis, Tennessee, with the band's long-serving engineer, Terry Manning. On the tape box, we jokingly called the music Stone's Riff, recalled Manning to TG, now managing director of Compass Point Studios. We called it that right up to the day the lyrics, and thence vocals, appeared. As we neared the end, Billy felt under more and more pressure to get some lyrics done and one day finally popped in Gimme All Your Lovin'. Like most of Eliminator, Gimme was cut using Gibbons' custom Dean Z. Billy would bring in different guitars, said Manning, always looking for something a bit new. There were two Deans, the only major difference was the body shape. Both had a single DiMarzio Super Distortion high output pickup and no controls at all. The Dean was recorded dry with just one setup, a Legend 50-watt hybrid unit with valve preamp and transistor power amp. The band cut the basics together to get it up and running, said Gibbons. The follow-through got easier once that initial ground got laid. Manning says those basic tracks were painstakingly reworked to get the characteristic polished, machine-like sound. The guitars were done section by section. Short phrases were played, then double-tracked onto one set of tracks, then the chord change or next phrase was played on a second set of tracks. They were then cross-faded together as seamlessly as possible to achieve a complete track. It certainly felt different, said Gibbons of the technique. Tuning and timing remained the aim. And, most assuredly, those elements kept each track cohesively together. Midway into the sessions, the general feeling toward the material was upbeat and gaining momentum. Gibbons' juicy solo sees him bend his trademark pentatonics around the song's C Mixolydian key. "Oh, yeah, one take, that," he remembered with some pride. Cutting the rare, one-time take is a bonus, a true reward, falling out of the sky so to speak. That one unfolded in the control room and the up-close proximity with the rhythm track made for a live-like experience. The tail-out solo was tracked during a subsequent session. The control room monitors were up loud, with Billy's guitar on the verge of feedback at all times, contributing to the tone. "Billy's such a naturally talented player, one of the best," says Manning. "That makes working this way go so well. Many couldn't have pulled it off." ZZ Top had dabbled with synths on previous albums, but they became an integral part of their sound on Eliminator. Terry pointed out the newest contraptions laying about at Ardent, noted Gibbons, and we simply put him into service, not really knowing what we were doing. The controls were tweaked till the additives felt right and rockin'. Gimme's Fender Precision bassline by the late, great Dusty Hill was augmented by a Moog analog synth, powering the tune like a hot rod's popping pistons. Splashes of memory Moog colored the choruses and the band was joined on backing vocals by Jimmy Jamison, who would later sing Survivor's hit Burning Heart and I'm Always Here, the theme tune to Baywatch. Eliminator went on to sell an estimated 15 million copies worldwide. There was no other band in the world, or, more importantly, on MTV, who looked and sounded like ZZ Top in '83, and Gimme played a vital role in establishing them firmly in the popular psyche. "We knew exactly what we had right from the very first guitar overdub," remembered Manning. "I had no doubt that it would do exactly what it did in the marketplace. There are a few rare times in music recording when you know this sure on the spot. This was certainly one of them."
Yeah, absolutely amazing. The fact that Gimme All Your Loving really was played on MTV like, wow, I remember it. I was quite young then, and they played it all the time. It doesn't surprise me that that brought ZZ Top to the fore. And a great, great album. And by the way, hello Sandra, great to see you. Thank you so much, Gary. I hope it is helping everyone to learn a little bit more about Billy Gibbons today. So I have still got 2 videos left, and I really can't not play them. They are short ones, so I just moved one of the wrong ones in. Actually, I won't play the one about Dusty Hill's estate. If you want to see that, head on over to CGS Live and you can watch it there. So we have a new album coming up and I am so excited about it. So we'll do that next.
ZZ Top readies new, Raw album and tour. Z Top continues to release new tracks from a new album titled Raw, recorded in connection with the band's 2019 Netflix documentary That Little Ol' Band from Texas. The Grammy-nominated feature from Banger Films and director Sam Dunn includes an interlude that finds the group's classic lineup, Billy Gibbons, Frank Beard and the late Dusty Hill, gathering for an intimate session at Green Hall, the oldest continually run dance hall in Texas. That performance provides the basis for the Raw album release. Listen to many of the tracks below. Raw will be released July 22 by Shelter Records, BMG on 180-gram vinyl, CD and through digital platforms and is dedicated in righteous memory of Dusty Hill. The liner notes were written by Gibbons and Beard. The album's title, according to a press release, is derived from the unfettered and straightforward manner in which the tracks were recorded. As seen in the film, the band members played, for the most part, together within sight of each other in the course of one day. The methodology employed was something of an homage to the way ZZ Top recorded at the start of its epic 5+ decades run at the pinnacle of rock's pantheon. Gibbons served as producer with engineering by Jake Mann and Gary Moon. Raw was mixed by Ryan Hewitt. The album's 12 tracks recall the very beginning of the band's recording career, Brown Sugar, and Certified Blues, from ZZ Top's first album and include many of their major hits, Legs, Tush, LaGrange, Gimme All Your Lovin', with a definite blues skew, Blue Jean Blues, Just Got Paid, I'm Bad, I'm Nationwide, as well as some up-tempo house rockers, Tube Snake Boogie, Thunderbird. ZZ Top has reached back to its very early days with the first track, Brown Sugar, penned by Billy F. Gibbons, and not be mistaken for the Rolling Stones song of the same title, the latter of which was actually released 3 months after ZZ Top's first album. A video for Tube Snake Boogie was made available on May 20th. The song, written by Gibbons, Hill and Beard, debuted in 1981 as part of ZZ Top's El Loco album and is one of their most enduring and concert favorites, typically provoking frenzied audience participation. Hill had characterized it as the ultimate party song, while Gibbons credits Beard for getting it up and running. He noted, "It really revolves around Frank's opening, which is kind of surf meets jungle." For his part, Beard credits his drum intro as having been inspired by Sandy Nelson's classic percussion-driven instrumental, Teen Bee. Raw track listing. Side 1. Brown Sugar. Just Got Paid. Heard It on the X. LaGrange. Tush. Thunderbird. Side 2. I'm Bad, I'm Nationwide. Gimme All Your Lovin'. Blue Jean Blues. Certified Blues. Tube Snake Boogie. At the same time the new album was announced, the band's forthcoming Raw Whiskey Tour has been revealed. The first leg of the tour, starting on May 27 in San Diego, will see the band on stage in 50 markets across North America, with more dates to be announced soon. The tour's title is a hat tip to both the forthcoming album as well as the recent release of ZZ Top Tres Hombres whiskey from Balcones Distilling of Waco, Tex.
So there we go. Some interesting things coming up from Billy F. Gibbons. An absolutely great guitarist, in my opinion. I think the 3 chords or 4 chords often are really, really cool, and he manages to get across amazing, amazing songs. So I am really sorry that I have gone over by 8 minutes. I just put way, way too much content in tonight, but it's absolutely awesome to be hanging with you all, and I hope you have a great rest of your weekend and a really, really great week, guys. Really love being here and hanging out with you, and all that remains for me to say is you guys take good care.